Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for joining our session to talk about what Accenture are currently doing to encourage women into technology. Also, what we're going to do is run through some recruitment tips with you. If at any point throughout the presentation you've got any questions at all or anything like that, do drop them in the chat box and I'll answer them. Or alternatively, there'll be an opportunity at the end to answer any of your questions as well. Just before we get started, I do apologise if you hear two sort of dogs going crazy in the background. It is my two dogs outside the bedroom door there. They don't like visitors to the door, so if the post office, the postman or anybody comes, no doubt you will hear them. So I'll try my best to keep them quiet for you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen with you. And hopefully you guys will all be able to see that as well. First of all, sorry, let me just introduce myself. My name is Jack Moran. I'm a recruitment analyst based in Newcastle, and I've been working for Accenture now for about 2 years or so. What my role is within Accenture is I look after all of our technology recruitment for Newcastle, Edinburgh and our Manchester office, and that is within the early talent team as well. So that covers sort of grads, apprentices, interns, and anything within sort of early talent. So we'll get started. Just a few things that I'm going to run through with you guys today is, first of all, we're just going to have a quick introduction to Accenture for those of you who don't know who we are or what it is that we do. Then we're going to talk about sort of gender equality within the workplace. How are we sort of getting there? And then at the end, like I mentioned, we've just got some sort of recruitment tips and any questions that you guys may have as well. Great. So first of all, to start off, who are Accenture? I used to ask myself the same question before I came for an interview with us as well. For such a big company, I'd not actually heard about us prior to coming in for my interview. But in a nutshell, I'll not go into too much detail because I don't want to confuse anybody. We are a leading global professional services company, and we provide a broad range of services within strategy and consulting, interactive technology and operations. And we've got digital capabilities now across all of these different services. We have 500,000 employees worldwide, growing every year. So just jumping ahead of myself, and we operate in more than 120 countries as well. Accenture are continuously bringing innovation to help our clients improve their performance and then create that lasting value across their enterprises. So whenever we go in and create a technology solution for any of our clients, we don't basically just leave it at that. We do sort of offer a managed service as well. So we'll continuously work on that relationship and work with our clients closely to make sure they are getting the most of the technology that we can implement for them. Just some key facts on the company there as well. So you can see globally now we have more than 6,000 clients across the world. We're number 34 on Fortune's World's Most Admired Companies to Work For, which is something we're very proud of. We work with 94 of the Fortune Global 100 are our clients as well, so some big names on there. I don't want to sort of reveal too much, but after this session, if you guys maybe want to go away and just sort of do some research, you'll be able to see some of the names of the companies that we work with. And we are number 1 on Thomas Reuters Diversity and Inclusion Index, something we're very proud of and obviously very important to us as we'll continue to sort of go through the next session. Great. So gender equal workforce. So I'm not sure if any of you are aware. However, by 2025, Accenture have pledged to have a 50-50 gender equal workforce across all of our sort of career levels, and that's across sort of male, female employees as well. As you can see, getting equal is something that sort of is very important to us, and we believe the future workforce is an equal one, and we've obviously set bold goals to accelerate sort of gender equality. There's just some sort of key facts on the screen there as well for you to have a look over. As you can see, 49%, sorry about that, keeps jumping ahead, 49% of our new hires are women, and that's across early talent and experienced hire as well. 27% of our global management committee are women, and 38% of our promotions this year were also female as well. revenue producing roles, 43% of them are held by women. 30% of our sort of executives are female as well, and 24% of our managing directors are women. Hopefully, by 2025, the aim is to have that sort of 50% across the board, but we are sort of getting there, and I'm just going to talk through what are we doing now to get there. So as you can see, we've set some big goals to achieve a gender balanced workforce by 2025. And this means workforce that is equally 50% women, 50% men, for those who sort of gender is binary. So some of the things that we are doing to encourage sort of females into tech is more flexible working. So start and finish times now is no longer just your standard 9 to 5. So we are offering sort of flexible. You can sort of start earlier, finish earlier, start later, finish later. Or sort of we do have the opportunity to work part-time as well. So you can make the hours up sort of Monday to Wednesday and then not work a Thursday, Friday, or basically just cut your hours down as well. On top of that, what we offer is remote working. So probably, as you're aware, at the moment, due to the coronavirus and the situation, all of our staff are working remotely. So all of our offices are currently closed. We are hoping to try and get them back and running very soon. But currently, it's closed. So everybody's working remotely. But even when we are operating sort of business as usual, back in the office and back to normality, remote working is still something that we offer. So 1, 2, 3 days a week. If you want to work from home, then that's definitely something that's encouraged as well, which is great. The next one there you can see is getting connected. So we have hundreds of employee networks around the globe that enable our people to build connections and really sort of develop their support systems. Because ultimately, when you come to work, it is sort of you spend more time with the people that you work with than sometimes you do your family. So it's really important to have that support system around you and feel that there's people there that you can speak to and just sort of have that sense of sort of familiarity with each other when you're in the office. Some of the sort of networks that we have are the LGBT community. We have mental health allies. We have the Afro-Caribbean Society. We have sort of green team societies as well, and they all have sort of regular meetups. And for example, the mental health allies will provide a certain level of support if you're feeling stressed out or you're having a bad day, and they also get sort of training on how to sort of provide that support as well. So it really is beneficial. Myself personally, I am an LGBT ally and a mental health ally within Accenture as well. So it's great to be able to give back as well. And it's great to get that training from the company, and also just to sort of provide that friendly face when somebody wants to chat as well. Again, sort of developing every day. So 100% of our staff are mentored and participate in mentoring and personal development programs, which is sort of ideal, especially within an early talent point of view. So when we are bringing people in at the very beginning of their career, everybody's given a buddy and a mentor and really sort of help to create their own career path when they start with us as well. On top of that, what we offer is apprenticeships, so people get the opportunity to work and learn, also sort of getting paid whilst they're studying, and of course Accenture are paying for their degree as well. So we are going into schools, colleges, and really sort of pushing our sort of goals to hit that equal workforce by 2025, and hoping from that we'll encourage sort of some females to apply for our apprenticeship roles. Again, just on top of that as well, we have something called performance achievement. So we work towards our sort of targets and priorities that we set at the beginning of the year, and through that tool, you're able to get feedback from sort of managers and your manager, other people in the business, where they can sort of give you feedback on what you're doing well, what you could improve next time, and that really is just to sort of benefit you and help you progress within the business, really. So just moving on there, because I work in early talent recruitment and looking after all our sort of tech recruitment across our regional offices, this is something that I can talk about in a little bit more detail about what we're actually doing on the ground to encourage more females to get into tech roles. And I personally believe that If we encourage more sort of females at a younger age, the chances of sort of hitting them targets are a lot easier. It's about educating from the beginning and hoping that we can encourage people to apply for these roles. So what we're doing, just going to touch firstly on the sponsoring female university side. So we're currently sponsoring a number of different female societies across sort of some of the universities that we work with within the sort of Newcastle office. So we sponsor, just to name a couple, we've got sort of the Women in STEM society that we sponsor and a Women in Business society that we sponsor. And basically by sponsoring them societies, what we do is we attend regular meetups with them. So we'll go for coffees, or we'll meet them at the sort of uni or wherever they organise. We'll go along and have a chat with them and see what they want from us and how we can help them and how we can work together. We'll sort of provide lunches for them, or sort of, I think recently, or not recently, when we weren't able to sort of meet together, I think we had a painting class up in Edinburgh where we travelled, and everyone just sort of got on and had some food, and then we'll have some drinks after as well. And then of course any other events that they have on campus, we'll sponsor them and basically provide as much support as possible as well. Moving on, work experience and insight days specifically for women as well. So what we do is we'll hold an insight day for sort of women who are currently studying or wanting to get into tech, and we'll invite them along for the day. And basically what we'll do is we'll run through kind of like what we do in Assessment Centre. So they'll come in, we'll give them an insight into Accenture, we'll be able to sort of show them around the offices, we'll get some of our sort of current grads or apprentices in, and some of our female employees to talk to them about the inclusive culture at Accenture. And hopefully encourage them into applying. We'll run through some group activities, some individual exercises. We might ask them to prepare a sort of discussion or presentation to come along with, who they'll then present to a manager, and they'll get some feedback on that as well. We have done this over a number of years now, and we actually have hired a lot of successful sort of female candidates on our graduate programs from these specific insight days targeted for women as well, which we found sort of really beneficial. Some third-party partnerships as well, such as STEM Women and Women in the City Afro-Caribbean networks. So they're basically like a social enterprise which is dedicated to the personal and professional development of Black women. So by sponsoring these third parties, we're basically giving them a marketplace to offer more diverse candidates to different sort of companies by supporting them with the CV writing, some social events, mentorship as well. So some of the sort of senior faculty or management from Accenture will then sort of mentor some of the candidates who are involved in these, and basically just sort of help them in getting ready to apply for roles or how to move into the tech industry as well. So we've also got female focused campus sessions and virtual online activities. I'm just going to kind of merge these two together right now, because obviously we would normally be on campus coming up October and be sort of chatting with the students and doing sort of various events, but obviously due to the current situation, a lot of the events that we're going to be doing are going to be virtual, and we are going to have a 100% sort of virtual campaign this year, just given the sort of light of everything that's going on at the moment. But we'll hold sort of different networking sessions with them and workshops as well. So we'll hold them online and encourage people to get involved with them. And paid social media campaigns as well. So basically we pay companies to market ourselves, to emphasize our commitment to the gender equality and the sort of equal workforce that we're hoping to achieve by 2025 as well. Sorry if anybody does have any questions as well, just because I'm presenting, I can't see the screen, but I'll double check just before we finish up as well. Great. And also, we've just got some recruitment tips for you as well. So whether or not you're applying for Accenture or you've applied for a company and you get invited to a final stage interview or anything like that, all of these tips, I believe, will help you throughout any sort of stage of the process as well. So first of all, we've got research on there as well. So I think it's really important to research into the company that you're applying for. Because even on the initial application, if you've done your research, you can look at some of the clients that they work with, and you can really tailor your application as to why you want to work for that company as well. And it really does help your application stand out as well. And again, if you are invited to an interview as well, it's definitely better to know too much about the company than not enough. Chances are, if you do come through to an interview final stage, the person interviewing you or anybody sort of on the day could ask you a question about the company, even if it's why do you want to work for Accenture. You can then talk about some of the projects that we've worked on, some of the clients that we work with. You really like the culture, you really like the fact that we're hoping to achieve a gender equal workforce by 2025, and straight away you're showing that you are dedicated to, or sort of committed to, wanting to work for this company. You've not just sort of applied everywhere, and it makes it a lot more tailored. Just on research as well, another little tip for you on there is, if you do manage to get the interviewer's name prior to going in for a chat, sometimes some companies will provide you with who the manager is that's going to interview you. I would advise just going onto the LinkedIn profile and just having a look at what they've done in their career. And then when it comes to asking any questions at the end, you can really sort of ask them, well, why did you do this, or why did you do that? And then how did your career progress? I noticed that you studied this, but then now you work in this field. So it just makes it a lot more personable with the interviewer, and then they can relate to you a lot more. So definitely do as much research as you can. Of course, you don't want to be finding out where like the interviewer lives, for example, but if you just want to get some sort of professional information on them, I think that's really helpful. First impression, I'm just going to link that in with the dress code as well. First of all, first impression is the most important thing I would say, is just don't be late to any interview. I know sometimes you get stuck in traffic and things like that can happen, but of course, as you're always told, the best thing to do is always arrive early. If you can, and don't be sort of afraid to ask prior to your interview, sort of, what is the dress code in the office, or what am I expected to wear for the interview? It's not going to be frowned upon for you to ask. But I always say it's better to be overdressed than underdressed. So even if you come in a full suit and it's sort of dressed down, it just leaves a better impression for the interview, and you look more professional when coming for the interview as well. Just moving on, authenticity there as well. What that means is basically just be yourself. What we want is sort of when you're completing an application form, when you come to the interview, just sort of make sure that you're doing the application form yourself. You are sort of giving true and honest answers, because then when you come to an interview, that'll just be reflected if you've been yourself throughout the whole application. Again, when sort of meeting the interviewer, just be yourself and just try to relax. At the end of the day, they're also people, and they're happy just to have a conversation with you as well. So the best thing to do is just be yourself. Communication on there as well. Always a sort of big point when coming for interviews or anything like that, because the majority of it is done sort of by talking, whether it be sort of a virtual interview or whether it be face to face. Communication skills are something that we definitely look for within sort of an applicant for Accenture as well. It basically shows how you're going to communicate with yourself and the client, if you are going to be sort of in a client-facing role, or even it just shows how you're going to communicate with your peers and with your work colleagues, and how are you going to sort of communicate within the team as well. Because to be a strong team player, you've got to have some good communication skills as well. So just the hints up there. As you can see, it says participate. So as I mentioned just a few minutes ago there as well, we do sometimes hold some group activities or individual exercises. So when I say participate, I just mean get involved. If there's a group exercise going on, don't be afraid to just put your hand up, get involved, contribute, because from an assessor's point of view, it's hard to then score you accurately if you're not participating. You may be sitting there sort of in the corner being quiet with 100 great ideas in your head, but then we can't then score you accurately if we don't hear those ideas. So what I say by that is, don't be shy, be confident, and just make sure that you participate as much as you possibly can, because you never know, you might need that sort of score just to sort of tick you over the edge in getting that job as well. So yeah, please do participate. Come prepared. What I mean by that is on sort of prior to coming to an interview or a final stage interview with Accenture or with any other company, you may then be asked to prepare a discussion or a presentation or some sort of document as to why you want to work for the company or something along those lines. So basically, when I say come prepared, it just means make sure that you are preparing for that discussion as well. It's definitely better to be over prepared than under prepared and come with too much information. You can always shorten it down on the day, and don't be afraid to ask the recruiter or the person who's inviting you to the interview for more information if you don't understand the brief. Personally, from a recruitment point of view, I would much rather spend 20 minutes, half an hour on the phone with a candidate, talking them through the brief and making sure that they understand it down to the very epicenter of that brief, so that they come and feel confident when obviously delivering that session, then come and feel nervous and be underprepared and not leave a good impression. So don't be afraid to obviously just ask for more information. As you can see, the recruiter's there to help you as well. So just make sure that you are coming prepared. And then I've just popped detail on there as well. That just means when you're completing your application, make sure that you include as much detail as to why you want to work for the company as possible. If they're asking for hobbies and interests, make sure you pop in all of that down in detail. Things that you studied, don't just sort of rush through it. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that are applying for these other roles as well. So it really does show if you, again, are putting your research into the company and popping that into the detail of your answer as well. So I would definitely sort of advise you just to sort of spend it, even if it's a few extra minutes, just sort of proofreading it, or an extra couple of hours just to making sure you are getting that attention to detail in your application as well. But that is everything from me. So I'm just wondering, does anybody have any questions for me at all that I can help you with? Any questions regarding sort of the encouraging sort of females into technology? Any questions or just want some advice on applying for a role, or if you get invited to an interview, how we can sort of any other sort of tips and hints if anybody's got any questions? Great. Thank you for that question, Lily. So for Accenture as well, if you are coming from a non-tech background to get into a sort of tech role with Accenture, if you were coming through an early talent point of view, we don't actually say that it's criteria that you come from a tech background or studied a tech degree. We just say that as long as you've got an interest in technology, then you're eligible to apply. We are also currently working on something at the moment as well, which is like a career change sort of thing. So we're encouraging people who have potentially built a career up within another industry and now want to come and work into technology as well. So that's something that we're currently looking at. Also, what I would advise is there's a lot of courses online as well that you can do now as well. So I would go away and maybe have a look into some of the online courses you can do, like an introduction to coding, or within a certain area of technology that you're interested in. There'll definitely be some courses online that you can complete and then start to build on your application and then looking to find a junior role within technology. But if you want to sort of have a chat about that in a bit more detail, I am on LinkedIn as well. So feel free to add me on there and we can have a chat regarding that. Let me just have a look. Hi, Louise. Thank you for your question on how to best present a career break to raise children on a CV and in an interview. I would just be honest and just say I had children and I took some time off work to raise them. That honestly won't be frowned upon, especially within Accenture. It's not something that we would be frowned upon at all. Everybody understands that you need time off work to sort of raise a family as well. So I would, on your CV, I would maybe just took a career break to to sort of to start my family, and then again just sort of express that in the interview as well. Like we sort of mentioned, everybody who's sort of involved in an interview, at the end of the day, they are still people. As much as there could be a sort of senior manager or so on, they are still people at the end of the day, and they'll completely understand that as well. There's a lot of questions on there as well. I will try and get through all of these guys. So Evie Tang, thank you for your question there as well. So no, you don't. You do, for an early talent role, you do need a degree, but it doesn't have to be within technology. As long as you've got a degree. For some of our tech roles, you do need to have a degree in a STEM subject, but for example, our client delivery program, as long as you've achieved a 2-2 in any discipline, then you'd be eligible to apply as well. We also have our consultant graduate programs as well, which I believe is a 2-1, but as long as that's within any degree discipline, you'd be eligible to apply as well. Hi, Casey. Thanks very much for your question. Again, when it comes to sort of gaps in your CV due to sort of personal reasons, then I would just explain that as well. Just try and be as honest as possible. Things like this do happen, and you do require time off work. Employees are completely understandable when it comes to that as well. And I definitely know Accenture are. We would never sort of look down on an application if somebody's had some time off work due to some personal reasons as well. So again, I would just be just honest with that and just say that you've taken some time off work due to some medical reasons, but now looking to return part-time or full-time. And I'm sure the employer would sort of look at that with open arms, really. Hi, Lauren. Could you just elaborate on the logic and reasoning tests for me, please? And then we'll come back to your questions if that's okay. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for your question. Know you're looking at going about sort of changing industries. You did a computer science degree and got a job in marketing, but would love to get back into tech. Great, excellent. First of all, I would ask, how long ago was it that you done your degree? We offer some of our early talent roles. You can still apply sort of a few years after you've done your degree. Or something that we're currently working on at the moment is a career change program as well, where people who are wanting to change industries or get back into technology can do at any point in their career. Keep an eye on our website for more information coming on that as well. That should be very soon. But again, I guess it would just depend on the situation with how long have you sort of spent out of the industry. And as I mentioned just before there, just to sort of give yourself a bit of a kickstart, there's a lot of courses online that you can do and certifications. So do some sort of personal development in your spare time, do some of these courses, get them on your CV as well, and then look into applying for some of them junior roles, or even an early talent role with Accenture. Great, thanks for that, Melanie, as well. So as Melanie just mentioned on there as well, there's some course presentation at 3:30, which is going to outline some of the courses that are out there to help you get into technology as well. So if you sort of join that session at 3:30, some of these sort of courses that I'm talking about, all that information is going to be on there as well for you as well. Nia, thank you for your question as well. I can see that you mentioned that there's some free courses as well. It's definitely, I completely understand that some employers only want sort of formal qualifications, but you've got to start somewhere if you're new into the industry. So you've just got to show that within your spare time you are wanting to work in tech. So this is what I'm doing. I've learned sort of Python, I've learned Java, or X, Y, and Z, and then you can start to apply for those junior roles. We offer an apprenticeship program. We've got some new apprentices actually joining with us this month, but our apprenticeship role will reopen for next year in January. And basically, there's no sort of up by age limit on that either. So if you are wanting to get involved in tech, you can always apply for our apprenticeship. no matter what you've done in the past. If you've sort of worked for 10 year, 20 year, 30 year, anything, if you then want to come and work within technology, as long as you can show that passion for technology and that interest in wanting to come and work within this industry, then and obviously do well within the assessment centre and the application, then we definitely consider to take you on board. Hi Evie, good question. Does Accenture reply to everyone who applies for a role? Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. You spend a lot of time on an application and you apply for a lot of different companies hoping for a grad role or an apprenticeship or even an experienced hire role. And some companies don't get back to you, and we do try to reply to every single application. So how it works with us is, if at the initial application, because there's so many applications that come through, you get basically a generic response to let you know whether or not you've been unsuccessful or whether or not you're going to be moving through to the next stage. But we'd never just leave an application with no response. It's just not good customer service, and it's just not something that we'd want to do for people that are spending hours on an application wanting to work for us. We find it very important that we'll at least get back to you and let you know if you've been unsuccessful, or what the next stage looks like. But I completely see, I've seen companies do that where they'll just say, because of the number of applications, they can't get back to everyone. But it's not something that we do. If you do move through to the next stage, then it'll be a more tailored response, and we'll let you know why you've been unsuccessful. Because if you've come through an assessment centre, you can request feedback. And then what we'll do from there is basically go through your interview questions, your group exercise results, and we'll let you know the areas that we think you can improve on. So when next year comes to hopefully reapplying, you can sort of practice those improvement areas, and look to build on those as well. Great question. Thank you for. Hopefully, we are hoping to open our graduate roles again in October. Normally towards the end of October, start of November is when they will reopen. But if you keep an eye on our Accenture website as well, with especially on our sort of graduate section, that'll keep you updated as to when the roles are reopening. You can also sign up for alerts as well, so that when the roles do reopen, you'll get an email say that the roles now open. Please do reapply. I would definitely suggest getting your application in as early as possible, because also if we get too many applications in, we are sort of entitled to close the roles early as well. So I would definitely sort of encourage you to get that in as soon as possible. Great, thanks for sort of covering that again for me, Lauren. A lot of the tasks that companies ask you to prepare for, not prepare for, that will ask you to do on the day, such as like a logical reasoning test or an IQ test or anything like that. It's really hard to prepare for them, or it's hard to give a generic answer because every sort of test is so different. What I would advise for that is, again, just go back to the team that are inviting you and holding that, and just say, is there anything that I can prepare for to sort of help me with this? I get asked that question all of the time from our graduates, and if there's anything that I can give them to help them prepare, then I do. But a lot of the time the tests are set so that when you come in on the day, there's nothing that you can prepare for, if that makes sense. So we basically just want to see how you react given a task, and then you've got sort of 5 or 10 minutes to complete it. So but definitely go back and just ask the recruiter or the manager inviting you, and just say, is there anything that I can look at online? Or even there, as you mentioned, some logical puzzles or pattern recognition. Just pop a search into Google and see if there's any sort of pattern recognition test that you can try. And if it's something like that on the day, then at least you're familiar with that sort of exercise. I hope that helps. Great, thanks Samantha for your I can see you just completed your masters in computing and no prior experience within tech. Say that you're currently doing an online course for web development to help your skills to move into a web development role. Great. If you do have a portfolio of websites, then that is great. Definitely sort of put one of those together. And that would definitely sort of help when applying for a junior role with Accenture, for example. If not, even though you've completed your master's, you could still then apply for our graduate programs as well. And the recruitment process for a grad basically looks like you'll complete an online application. We don't ask for a CV, but the initial application is why do you want to apply for this role, and input all of the information that basically would be on your CV onto that initial application. If you're then successful, you'll then come and you'll then progress and you'll do an online test where you're basically given it a client challenge. This is something that you can't prepare for. Again, it's all done online, and you'll be given a number of challenges that you have to work through. And then if you are successful in that, you'll then be invited to a final stage, which is an assessment centre with us. On the day you'll come in, you'll be given an introduction to Accenture, who we are, what we do, shown our office, or if it's at the moment, it'll be virtual. Then you'll do either a group exercise or an individual exercise, and you'll have a one-to-one interview with a manager. And also what we do now is we do a VR test as well. So we've got some VR kits where we'll get you on and get the headset on, show you how everything works, and you'll run through a whole new sort of assessment within VR as well, so we can see everything that you're doing. But I'll not reveal too much, so hopefully if you do apply, you'll get to come in and experience that as well. Crystal, great. I can see that you're currently studying mechanical engineering and you're in your final year. I'm currently learning Python as well. That's great. Great to see, obviously, that you're learning Python on the side as well. Are you studying mechanical engineering at uni? If you are, I would encourage you to apply for the graduate role. You've got a STEM degree there and you're currently learning Python as well, so you'd be eligible to apply for any of our grad roles, especially if you've already got a degree. The apprenticeship program is aimed at people who are wanting to sort of change careers, or people who haven't yet been to university, but there's no criteria for the apprenticeship program. Within Newcastle and our regional offices, you do have to have held just a UK address for the past 5 years, just for the security clearance. However, I believe London, you can just apply for that as well. Hi, Evie. Again, is the VR assessment mandatory? Yeah, I can see that you've had motion sickness in the past when sort of doing the VR. So with the company that we work with for our VR, I know you've probably heard this from other companies as well, but because it's so high level, apparently it avoids that motion sickness as well. But if it is something that you really suffer with, we also offer a non-VR alternative, because as you know, with technology, sometimes things just don't work as planned on the day. So we do have an alternative should that not happen. So if it's something that you felt really strongly and you didn't want to give it a go, we could just do an alternative for you as well, because the last thing we want is for you to be leaving feeling ill. Hi, Crystal. So each role has a different criteria. If you were going to be applying for sort of Newcastle, Edinburgh, Manchester, for our tech roles, you do have to have lived in the UK for the past 5 years, just for the security clearance of those offices. However, London, you are able to apply, whether that be the case or not. For our software engineering role, as long as you've achieved a 2-1 within a STEM subject, you're eligible to apply. But client delivery, if you've achieved a 2-2 in any degree discipline, you'd also be eligible as well. Also, if you want to just have a look on our website as well, and have a look at some of the graduate roles that we offer, it's got all of the criteria on there as well, for what you need to be able to apply as well. Hoping I haven't missed anybody's questions. Hi, Jen. Whitfield, sorry, I just missed your question there. Is there a cut from when you graduated to apply for a grad scheme, and is there an upper age limit? No, there is no upper age limit. We say as long as you have achieved your degree in the last 3 years, you can still apply for one of our graduate programs. Hi, Kirsten. Thank you very much for your question as well. What initiatives do we have for experienced female hires as well? It's not something I can talk on great detail, I'm afraid. I'm really sorry about that. I do sort of focus on our early talent recruitment, but I know we are our sort of recruitment team are sort of actively hoping to achieve sort of more females within a tech by hosting, again, as we do within early talent, sort of women in tech meetups. If we've got sort of a lot of roles within a certain area or office that we're currently hiring for, we'll hope to hold like a sort of women in tech networking event or something along those lines to hope for people to apply. But Kirsten, what I can do for you as well, again, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I can definitely put you in touch with some of our more experienced hire recruiters who focus on that area of the business, and they can talk through sort of some of the initiatives that we have in place to encourage sort of females into the business as well. Yeah, great. Yeah, Kirsten, that's great. What I'll do is I'll send over my sort of LinkedIn profile, if I can send it to sort of Melanie or some of the organisers to hopefully share that out. Or if you want to just sort of have a search for me after this, then feel free to do so, and we can touch base from there. Does anybody else have any more questions? I'm really sorry if I've missed anybody. There's just a few questions in the chat box. I'm hoping that I've managed to sort of get everybody's answered. But as I just mentioned to Kirsten there as well, and earlier on, if anybody does want to sort of connect with me on LinkedIn or anything like that and ask some more questions, or if you want help with an application, whether that to be Accenture or another company, I'd be happy to sort of help anybody out where I can. Yeah, of course, Crystal, that's no problem. But hopefully all of you have found the session quite useful today. Hopefully some of the answers that I gave will be able to help you guys when applying for Accenture or when applying for another role with another company. But I wish everybody all the best. And thank you very much for joining the session this afternoon.